Greetings and welcome. This is the part 3 of employee relations, and the reason it's taking so many episodes is because it's very important. Remember, your body cannot always be active if you do not feed it, if you do not clothe it, if you do not water it, Yes, so today we're talking about employee relations in the organization, but this is part 3, point number 5. Remember, point number 1 was set the tone from day 1. Number 2 was always provide positive feedback. Number 3, improve communication. Number 4 is offer career guidance and development. And number 5 now is help them be happy. How do you help your employees be happy? So if you haven't heard of such and you're tuning in today, check the previous episodes. We have a part 1 and a part 2 already. So this is part 3. And the point of part 3 is help them be happy. Help your employees be happy. How? Now, considering everything that we've spoken about in episode 1 and 2, you can help them be happy by rewarding their performances. Okay. Now, and they will better their creativity at work. Reward their performances, acknowledge them. Now, happy workers are more creative and better at solving issues. Sometimes you'll find that they solved issues that you are not aware of. Okay, they did not wait for the manager or departmental head or what. They just, amongst themselves, they decided to solve it because they understand it saves time, it saves this. But if you are very stiff in your organization, then with the smallest things, they will always be saying, we did not do it because the manager was not there to approve. The HOD was not there to approve. You see? And let me say this. Kwa Kiswahili, they say hizo njia za kumsuta manager. Sana jifanya mbele ndo manager mwenyewe. Wacha mwenyewe haja afanye nini? Hicho kitu. So, they will decide to do it themselves depending on how as a manager you treat them. So if you make your employees happy, call them a team, treat them well, they will always want to do things, and then they'll come and say, we did this and this and this because they believe that's the right thing to have been done. Now, make sure they are well placed in the right jobs and departments. Okay, a happy employee is the one that has been fixed in the right department. You cannot bring someone who is qualified for another job in another department and expect them to perform. No, they'll start. In fact, they will put that department behind. Reason being, they'll start dragging their fellow employees who are qualified because they do not know what is done in that department. They did not learn that. So take the right career to the right department. Take the right expertise to the right department. It ensures efficiency at work, fastness at work, and like you mixing them, they will always depend on that expert, and that means you will drag. Time will be dragged, time will be wasted, and this person will not feel like he or she is fruitful or satisfied. Okay, now the other thing is give them meaningful work. And remember, whatever you're giving these employees is what you have done before. It is nothing new. You have experienced it. So you know the maximum of this work is this. So please achieve this by today. But when you expect miracles to happen, no. There is a particular time the employee comes in. If it is public organizations, 8 to 5, there's a lunch break. They're supposed to achieve this and this. If it's a private organization, then they're supposed to achieve this and this. Do not overwork them. So they will be happy and very productive and very generous with information. Nice. So I'm done with employee relations, or the points that you need to look at, but there are so many things we need to look at. In fact, right now I want to dive into additional employee relations and their importance. Okay, how do you go further and ensure that they get, apart from the 5 points, how do you go further and deeper? Okay, now, create a foundation of trust. When we say create a foundation of trust, you give the employee the feeling of loyalty. They give you the feeling of loyalty, value, sense of belonging. They feel like they belong to that organization. Improved communication and improved teamwork and favorable working environments. All that I've covered. Okay. Now, these ones will benefit the organization majorly. And when it benefits the organization, the employee is also more creative, and employee will also feel well or good when they are at home. Have you ever heard of an employee at home who is always complaining about the workplace? Complaining about the workplace. Until one day when they introduce you to Manager Sam or Manager Purity, they know, oh, this is the famous. And then they look at you with a particular sizing angle. So you're the one who is stressing people in that organization. You see, you don't want that. So make sure when you do all this, when you give them when you lay the foundation of trust, value, give them a sense of belonging, improve communication and teamwork, and favorable working environment. When you do all that, it benefits the organization and benefits the employee at home, and will always be looking forward to coming to work. Advantages of employee relations. What are the advantages? Employee engagements. People start speaking, they start interacting, they start talking. This is now when you are planning something big, they can always tell you, so-and-so is fit, so-and-so is not fit. You see? Now, it also encourages, when I say employee engagement, departmental engagements also. There are some departments that are just locked in as that department, and this one is locked in as this, and then they create some kind of beef that does not even exist. Okay, so it encourages them to relate with each other. Fewer conflicts, so you'll not get people saying, nilikuwa natumia printer, nini mbaya umakanga na printer sana, ama mnamaliza makaratasi nyingi sana. By the way, do you know, let me just tell you one thing. Do you know most conflicts at work are brought by what? It's those printers and printing papers and staplers and biros and what do I call this? And there's some petty things, but they are necessary in the organization. So ensure enough supply of such. Can you imagine organizations are hiding printing papers from each other? What a shame. They happen. Now, employee engagements will improve, fewer conflicts, and then it strengthens confidence within the employees. It improves the culture, because now if we've said our culture and we have also our values of care, humility, integrity, they will even try to help each other. Improve culture, I've said work-life balance. So there will be a work-life balance, because when you've put employee relations first, then it means that when this employee wants days off, wants to take the baby to the clinic, wants to do this, they know, instead of me asking for just impromptu off days, I can ask in advance that date this and this and this, I would wish to take my baby to the clinic. It's the clinic day. So it creates such, you don't get people faking people's death, you don't get people faking sicknesses, okay, because you've already sorted them. Also, advocacy. It makes them be the champions of their rights. Now, I'll say the Gen Z way, but not in a bad way. Because these employees will feel like, hi sir, we feel like we need also our ream of papers, because we always share, and the workload clearly makes us fight within each other. So it helps a lot. Advocacy, they talk about what they need in their department and how they need to make things better. Another thing is it brings inclusivity. They feel included in raising issues. Also prepares for common employee relationship issues. It makes you sit down and look at, oh, nice. So I need to also prepare myself as an organization leader to know that there is A, B, and C, which right now I want us to look into. Now, as an organization leader, how do you look, or how do you prepare for common employee relations issues? Because they will arise. And trust me, as a manager, not even manager, as a CEO or director, there are some things you don't get to hear. They will never tell you. The manager will never pass them to you. It just sinks with the manager. But if the manager is there are some managers that really need to capacity building in terms of how to deal with things in a good way. Now, number one, with good employee relations, you can identify problems and concerns within the employees, and you will identify them early and start looking for solutions early. Most common related employee issues are the dress code violations. Okay? Now, banks, we understand suits are the things for the banks. We understand. Hospitals, we have the white aprons. We do understand the blazers. We do understand the colors of the hospital. We do understand. Kitchen, hotelier industries, we understand. Now, what of a place where they haven't defined? They haven't defined. You know, people will say my dress, my choice. The other one will say, as long as I am decent, I feel I am decent, then I am decent. You should not have a problem with it. The other one will be like, you know, so there are so many conversations. I am very sure as the HR you faced such. And this goes, let me give an example. I have a journalistic background. And trust me, it goes without saying that my dress code as a journalist when I'm in the field will suit that field. Okay, unless it's just something else. But we had an experience where at some point, I'll not mention the organization, the HR wanted us to dress in some particular things. And clearly, hiwezi. So don't force things. Call people for a meeting and ask them. Me, in an organization where it's not a bank, it's not a hospital, it's not wearing closed shoes, open shoes does not guarantee performance. Wearing closed shoes also does not guarantee performance. You see, it's laughable. But anyway, as a HR, please sit down and come up with realistic dress codes. Do not imagine things that are not able to be done, okay? Now, number one, employee refusing to follow company's dress code, including remote employees. All right, we have organizations where you cannot, thank God for times and changing of times. Nowadays, we can do our dreads and go to the office. We can do our wigs and go to the offices. We can do our African hairstyles and go to the offices. Okay, now, dress code. Please define dress code very well. If you say it suits, then let it be suits and let it be agreeable within the employees. Okay, and then it's the kind of organization, clearly, I've just said, if it is a bank, automatically, no argument, suits, you know. But if it is some organizations where there is a remote place, there is a what, I told you about fitting in with others. Fitting in with others. Do not show yourself. You know, there is a perception that comes with also how you dress in some places, yet you expect to gel in with some people. You always have to gel in with those people. So you have to, when you go to Rome, do what the Romans do. All right? I think you're getting my point. So look into that dress code issue. Nowadays, we have very different designs, very different ways we can do. Look at our anchors, television anchors. Long time ago, it used to be suits. But nowadays, there's some form of dresses, there's some form, but they look official. Again, they look fancy, but it's okay. So there's flexibility. And I always say, don't be so rigid. Another thing is pay disputes. These are things that bring employee relations issues. So and so is being paid this amount, yet I am the one who does that job mostly. You see clearly that point, there's unfairness somewhere. So and so is being paid more, yet I'm the one training that. Then that means there's a balance you've not balanced somewhere. So as a HR, as the organization, sit down and look to who is mentoring this newcomer. Okay, what is the pay of this newcomer and this person mentoring the newcomer? Or just some mentors. If you've given some people to be trained in the organization, go sit down as an organization leader and digest and then meditate. Okay, let there be fairness. And don't say employee salaries are secret. No, nowadays, if we can disclose the salary of a certain employee who is not even part and parcel of our businesses and everything, so anything can happen. So employee disputes, so regarding inadequate wages, if it is allowances, let the allowances be the same. And then extended contracts, if it is contracts, let the contracts be the same. Now, this on contracts, I will not say let the contracts be the same, because sometimes it depends with the employee performance. So, but at times it comes in with bad taste when someone says, I was just given 1-year contract, yet I will play the same role with so-and-so who was given a 3-year contract. You know, nice. And then salaries. When do you pay salaries? How do you pay your salaries? Okay, ensure there's always a fair way from the top person in the organization to the person, the junior staff. Okay, now the other thing is safety violations. These are things that you're preparing for common employee relations. These are common employee relations issues that the CEO you should know. Safety violations. Now, empower your employees by giving them the tools of trade like they are supposed to be dealing with. Okay, like for farmers, they need gumboots, they need gloves, they need aprons, if they need masks, if they're dealing with some chemicals. Okay, now, I know at home we go to the shamba even without shoes and everything. That is home. But this is an organization. There's always safety. Okay, if it is a factory, ensure they have those glasses, they have everything to secure their safety. Have you ever heard of people saying, I was laid off because I got harmed? I have never been paid any money. I went to court, the court says they should pay me this, they have never paid me. You've heard of such? Please, let's work on that. Let's work on that. And remember, I'll look for a time where I'll bring a lawyer here so that we can break down the labor laws step by step and how you're supposed to treat your employees. Now, that goes hand in hand with the kitchen. They should have uniform. Have you ever asked yourself why the chef has the cape, the beautiful one? It has a name. Yeah? Have you ever asked yourself why? Have you ever asked yourself why they put on white overalls? Have you ever asked yourself why their uniform always has some white things? Nice. So we will break that down someday, but ensure safety violations. Do not expect to have an employee who works overtime until the night and you're not dropping this employee at home. If this employee is working night shift and they need to come out of the office by 11 p.m., then make arrangements for them to be dropped. Or if they're working in a place where it is safe, then you know if they are living in the quarters, staff quarters, then you know they are safe. But if they are not, have you even looked for reimbursements of funds, allowances, risk allowances? Have you done that so that they can make their own arrangements and call their own people to pick them at that time? So there's a lot that comes with that. And this can bring an organization down, because one case in the labor courts about your organization will bring your organization down. And that is what, as a PR person, I come in so that you don't get yourself into such dangers. Okay, now, absence violations. Yeah, employees will, depending on how you treat these employees, some will not be coming to work, some will be late to work, some will fake deaths to get off days, some will just have an excuse. They will not have a regular pattern of coming to work. That is absence violations. Abuse of sick days and time offs. Or they are at work, but hey, my friend, they just came kidogo, they left, they went to take tea. Tea went to lunchtime, and then they came back in the afternoon. That is wasting the organization time. Now, that is called time theft. Now, how do you get employees to do this? It is because you've not laid strict structures and in a good way. Now, why do I say this? Because an employee cannot get enough confidence. And you know, when you ask them why is so and so and you punish these people, they'll always come back and they'll say, why is Nani and Nani doing always this? And they are never punished. Imagine it is only us. It is only us. I used to work in an organization where even if it was break time, you have walked out for tea, you come back and you meet the organization leader, hey, you will almost faint, or you will vomit. Because if you have not laid that break time is this to this time and you respect that break time, do not assume that this employee is always walking around. Look at your watch. Understand there's the tea time, tea break. If you feel like they're wasting time, introduce tea in your office. Nice. Now, wage theft. Now, this arises when employees do not reimburse for incurred expenses. Yes. Now, this is where maybe we are going for a career trip and the hotel that was booked was 5,000 and you were given cash. But we feel like, hey, mimi nilale hotel ya 5,000. Haiwezi. So what do we decide? We decide to go to sleep in a place 1,000 or even a family member house has in that place. So we save this amount and then we go back to that hotel and we tell that hotel, yeah, we need receipt, and then you do mpango. It happens. Do not be shocked. So that is called wage theft. So by the time you're coming to to look at these receipts, you know it wasn't right. And then sometimes these employees, they go until they disagree. Someone comes and says the truth and everything. So it should tell you that there is something wrong that you need to do. Okay, then why not give them that 5,000? Give them a freedom to go and do whatever they are doing. But as an organization, you have sorted them. And do not punish such people. I always say, from every mistake an employee makes, don't punish that employee. Tend to understand why this employee that made that mistake. Okay, maybe you're not paying this person enough. Maybe. All right. The other point is sexual harassment at work. So these are common employee issues. Yeah, and this happens when, especially through interns who are there for internship or attachment, also through junior staff wanting promotions, also just through junior staffs being used by these senior staffs. There's a lot of things that happen with sexual harassment. Now, why? Now, this is the most dangerous one because it's unforgivable. If you ask me, that is so wrong. You don't have to use someone sexually for that person to benefit. And sometimes these people are so naive because they want to maintain their job, they're getting money. So some small threats always make these people very fragile. Now, if these people are not strong enough, and as an organization leader, some things will pass by you. And as an organization leader, when you get any news that there is such a thing happening, do not ignore. Always seek to understand why. And I'll urge, these things always come from managerial teams, HODs, CEOs, some directors. If you want to just do professional job, be professional. Do not do this. And if you're a new intern, new employee and everything, you should know your rights. You're there to work, not to be harassed sexually. We don't refuse, good things can happen when you have a relationship with someone, but there is a borderline between sexual harassment and that. Now, that is point number 7. The final, not even the final, is discrimination violations. Do not discriminate amongst employees. And as a CEO, you might never know, but this is some of the employee issues. They get discriminated by these managers or the head of departments. They never get opportunities to talk. They never get opportunities for the manager to put in a good word. And I always say, the manager is your eyes and ears when you are not there, but you can go and extend. That's why I said, try and relate with your staff. Visit their offices, impromptu. Relate with them, know their names, where they come from, which school they went to. Relate with them, you'll get to understand their characters and they will feel free. And if there's any discrimination happening or sexual harassment happening, they might come directly to you, okay? Because you created that space and freedom. Also, favoritism. Now, it's almost the same as the point 8, but preferential treatment. You're always traveling with this person. You're always mentioning this person in these meetings. People feel like, the only employee existing, us, we are just escorters. Don't make your employees feel that way. Nice. I think to that point, let me finalize it there, but those are some common employee issues that you as a CEO need to research in advance. We've said pay disputes, dress code violations, discrimination, favoritism, wage violations, off days violations. We've also mentioned safety violations and What do we have? Benefits, violation in terms of allowances and everything, and then sexual harassments. Now, from there, I hope you have learned a lot. And if you want to communicate with me, these are the contacts below here. Thank you for viewing. Thank you to the Wala production. My name is Janet Kiriswo. You are PR Guru.